Once you decide I'm going to reframe the conversation in the positive ways that we've been talking about, well, how do you do that? And that typically is done by the content that precedes the conversation, right? That sparks the conversation. In fact, I think Forbes put it great. They said content marketing solves problems, thought leadership sparks conversations. So if we're trying to spark conversations that are reframing that conversation and getting that interest, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on thought leadership content and role that plays in the organization.
It's so important in terms of partially it is reframing that conversation. So it's positioning yourself above a commodity, that you are a trusted advisor, that you do know more in depth about a field than your clients do, which is sort of a natural extension. Yeah, one of the things that I talk to our sales team about is a lot of times they'll be a little bit resistant to a very sort of typical sort of salesperson approach is like, you know what, all your marketing stuff, that's fine, but I just kind of want to wing it and I just have a conversation with my client or I want to hear them talk, and that's fine. But what I remind them is they've come to us expecting expertise. They're not in a therapy session. Yeah, you do want to learn more about the client. You do want to learn more about what they do and what their challenges are. But you also want to be ready with some strategies that have been proven to work, and then also be able to talk more broadly about some of the things that we just discussed today. The way that I view thought leadership is it gives you a chance to address some of those things that are hey, did you think about it this way? Did you think about if you're trying to build company culture, maybe you should look at your staffing partner because they might be able to help you with that. Have you thought about even just like the phrase candidate quality? And I thought this was very interesting internally when we were talking about candidate quality. And we said, oh, we have to talk about this. We have to put it in all of our marketing material. We have to do this. And somebody within our organization said, how are you defining that? How are we even defining what candidate quality is? Because it could mean a lot of things. Like it could mean turnover. And we had a whole conversation about that where it's like we were able to do a deeper dive into why quality counts in staff and what it is and how do we actually define it? Because it's not just turnover, because turnover could be related to how you're managing people. It's not just about pay, because that can be an inaccurate kind of statement. It's not just about sort of the volume of candidates that you're getting. How do you actually define quality? And I think that's when it gets into thought leadership, where you're able to broaden out that conversation and get people thinking and feeling about your company and your brand in a whole different way. I think that's a major role for thought leadership that's out there. It's kind of the best way to describe it is to get people to think a little bit differently about framing the conversation. Thought leadership can be that and can do that. That can be in very direct or very indirect ways. One of the things that we're doing right now is having these conversations between our CEO, Seth Stein, and other leaders out in the industry. It started off with talking about company culture, and I think that there'll be other conversations that Seth has with other leaders out there. But it's just as much about the fact that the conversation is happening. And I think it goes to that point that we were talking about. We don't always want to talk about our clients or our prospects as just the kind of business targets that we're going after. These are people. And these are people who are running companies, and they are doing that for a lot of reasons, some of which are about making money. Some of it's just about passion that they have. But I run into more CEOs that care about their organization and care about the vendors and the partners they work with more than anything else. And if you can capture that and reach them with something like thought leadership, that, all the better.